Nothing really happened on the live feeds last night, so let's chat about what we could potentially be seeing for this 1000th episode. Big, never before seen twist. None of these ideas that I'm about to talk about are my own ideas. These are just ideas I've been seeing amongst the Big Brother community and sharing my opinion on a couple of them that I think are most likely to happen. So the one I've been seeing the most is basically like having a Survivor week. The reason that I think that this is definitely plausible is because nothing is more on brand for Big Brother to celebrate another show on the night of their big moment. This is very on brand for them and also very stupid, but again, on brand. I also love having the outside weeks in these more recent seasons, so that would tie in perfectly with a Survivor related week. And it would be also really annoying. But honestly, it's not too far off from the other thing that I actually think is maybe even more plausible for them to do. And that is the BB Can 5 backwards week. I think that this one is more plausible because it really fits into the whole time travel theme that we have for this season. Basically, how this works, if you're unfamiliar, is everything goes backwards. So they will, as a house, collectively vote for two nominees. After they vote for the two nominees, then a veto competition happens. After the veto competition happens, they can save someone and then someone may be replaced. And then from there, they play a head of household competition. And whoever wins head of household is the sole vote to evict between the 2 to 3 remaining nominees. Now, since we have Blockbuster, I don't know how that will work into this whole twist. Maybe you nominate 3 people as a house and then someone plays in Blockbuster and wins their safety for the week, or maybe they start with a Blockbuster competition before they even do the vote, and whoever wins Blockbuster is, immune from the vote for the week, and then they collectively decide 2 to 3 nominees of the remaining people or something like that. I just think that this could be the overarching kind of twist that we end up seeing is this backwards week. I'm very 50-50 on how I feel about it. I think that there is definitely still some social elements to this kind of twist. I think it also gives you multiple chances to save yourself, especially if we have that Blockbuster included. So I don't think it will be as terrible as the hamster wheel last year, but I definitely see how some people might find it to be a controversial kind of twist. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Let me know what twist you think we're going to see on Thursday. Let's chat about Dee and Devins' latest master plan. If you don't want any BB28 live feed spoilers, now would be the time to scroll on. As a quick recap, we have Dee as our head of household this week. Nominees after the veto ceremony are Drew, Taylor, and Mallory. Dee's overall target for the week is for Mallory to go home and for Drew to stay. However, they haven't let Drew and Barrett know that Mallory is the target. They keep saying that Taylor is the target. And that's kind of what a conversation between Dee and Devins involved just a little bit ago. They were talking about when is the right time to let both boys know that the target has shifted, and also what reasons are we giving them as to why we're shifting the target to Mallory. Mallory did actually go have a conversation with Dee. Shocking, I know. And I actually do think she handled it pretty well and did, even though she was lying, come up with some good reasons as to why Dee should trust her and what her strategy would be moving forward, even though, like I said, none of it was true. She is definitely wanting to target the icons. But because of that conversation, Dee is like, I don't know, I kind of feel bad, and I also don't have a good reason to target her now. She was fully expecting for Mallory to just not talk to her for the rest of the week because that's typically what Mallory does. But now that she had this conversation, she's like, I have no reason to tell Drew and Barrett. But Devins lets her know that, I don't think you really understand how mad those 4 people are at you right now. And I think Dee has forgotten that she told at least Barrett, I don't think she said the same to Drew, but definitely to Barrett, told him to pretend that he's mad at her. And I do think as of right now, he's pretending. But Devins is also pretending, and so they're just pretending to each other that they're mad about this decision. And Dee and Devins essentially decide that rather than giving the boys a heads up, they're just going to blindside them this week. So that way they don't have to worry about if Mallory wins the blockbuster, that she'll definitely be wanting to target them. It's not going to matter either way. And yeah, so their grand plan is to blindside Drew and Barrett. And if this doesn't wake them up, then God help them, genuinely, because what? It's just funny because Drew and Barrett have had conversations with each other saying that, like, they're fully expecting the target to all of a sudden change at some point this week and Mallory to be the target. They've already discussed those voting scenarios. I think in most cases they would be willing to vote Mallory out. However, there was a moment today where Barrett said that Taylor made a comment to Barrett about how good Barrett is at this game and how loved he is in this game. And essentially he was like, she's going to be coming after me. Like, she kind of sees my game for what it is. And because of that, she needs to go. So if there's a world where, like, he can be the one vote to send Taylor home, if it's like Taylor and Mallory, I think in that instance, he would go ahead and vote in Mallory's favor to keep her. But if it's like Mallory against Drew, I don't think he pulls it there. The other thing that's really interesting is they are telling everyone a different story. And this is potentially a pretty close vote in multiple scenarios this week. And when you've got this many cross signals and different messaging that you're giving multiple people, you're going to potentially end up with a wrong outcome happening. So they better try and get some stories straight tomorrow and get more people on the same page, or they're potentially going to lose the wrong person this week. I actually see Drew being the casualty of this situation because Dee keeps telling a lot of people, pretty much everyone except for Drew, Barrett, Melody, and Mallory, that her ultimate goal this week is to send someone from FAP home. And that's just really not so much the case. If it's Drew and Taylor, she definitely is wanting Drew to stay, but with the narrative that she's spinning to everyone, that wouldn't be a guarantee, because a lot of people right now think that they're supposed to vote Drew out in order to split up that 4-person alliance. It's not a bad idea. Taylor's also kind of used this as her campaign strategy as well. She's let people know, like, look, it's 4 people. That's a voting block. And after this week, all it takes is 4 votes. And then once we're in the jury phase, it only takes 4 votes for them to decide who wins. Whether they stay in the game or they go to the jury house, they control so much of this game moving forward in some way or another. So it would be best to split them up before jury starts. And then Dee's kind of pushing that similar idea. So this could definitely blow up in her face, all because she wants to have another blind side.